The scene takes us to what happened last Friday. We're at a nightclub brimming with people dancing. Ryan stands at the bar, trying to catch a very busy bartender's attention. He opens his mouth to say something but decides against it because of low confidence. Soon Laura comes and stands near him. She puckers her lips and adjusts her hair, looking at her faint reflection on the glass in front of her. Ryan notices her through the reflection, and when she waves to the bartender, he mistakenly thinks she's waving at him. He waves back and realizes the wave was not meant for him. Not to be rude, Laura turns towards him and says hi. They smile at each other, and it is followed by awkward silence because neither of the two knows what to say. Ryan is uncomfortable, and Laura is nervous to say anything. They both try to look cool, and when they muster up the courage to say something, they say it at the same time. They laugh and apologize for the silliness, and Ryan lets Laura speak first. Laura asks who he is with, and Ryan tells her his housemate. He points to a guy dancing alone on a raised platform. She asks for his name, and he tells her. Laura's voice goes 2 pitches higher when she says she had a rabbit called Ryan, but he passed away. Ryan says good, because there can only be one of them. Laura smiles. She introduces herself, and Ryan says that he thought if he ever had a daughter. Laura interrupts him and asks if he would have called her Laura. Ryan says no and then makes an inappropriate comment, but seeing Laura's reaction, he apologizes, saying it was a joke. Laura lets this odd conversation slide and checks her phone. Her friend has left and has sent her a text. Laura gets upset. Ryan asks if she'd like a drink. Laura is not sure but then agrees. In a voiceover, a different set of voices talk about the characteristics that make a woman attractive to the opposite gender. Laura is learning to do her makeup by looking at a makeup tutorial. The makeup looks quite different on her compared to the beauty bloggers. She is getting ready for her date, and her mother puts her in a blingy red and black coat that can be described as nothing but hideous. Laura is not happy with her outfit. Her mom says that second dates are important as it either makes or breaks a relationship. Laura asks whose words of wisdom these are, and her mother replies the fellows on YouTube. She instructs her not to give herself away tonight. According to her, men like the chase. The less one gives, the more they want. She doesn't want her to make the same mistake she made with her father. Her dad yells from the other room that he can hear her, but her mother shushes him by hurling very common form of curse words. Ryan is also getting ready, but he can't seem to find his shirt. He walks into the other room and finds his housemate, Dan, wearing his shirt. Ryan asks him to give his shirt back because Laura will be there any minute, and they'll be going for Indian food. Dan makes fun of Ryan's way of wearing a towel and asks him to stop wearing the towel like a girl. He teases Ryan by saying that Laura is not coming for onion bhaji but something else. Ryan protests and says that it is much more than physical intimacy. Dan is flabbergasted to hear Ryan has been with only 2 girls, and is still obsessed with the girl from his previous relationship, who cheated on him 2 years ago. Ryan defends himself and says he is done with her because he is now with Laura. Laura desperately tries to fit into jeans a size smaller than her actual size. After lots of jumping and wiggling, she finally manages to put them on. At the same time, she talks to her friend, Bianca. She asks if she is prepared, and Laura says she is not going to sleep with him tonight because she doesn't know if he would want to do that or if he even likes her. But Bianca thinks he might do a bracelet test on her to know how she feels about him. On the other hand, Dan advises Ryan that if he genuinely feels about Laura, he needs to take things to the next level. It is a test that he needs to pass. So Dan makes himself disappear for the night, leaving Ryan thinking about what to do. Bianca explains the bracelet test. She says when the bracelet is pushed onto a man, what he does with the bracelet determines how he feels about her. If he pushes it away, he is not interested, and if he wears it, he is invested. Upon hearing this, Laura wears her bracelet. Laura's mother, Val, comes into her room. Laura asks her how she looks. Val says she looks awful. Laura loses it as she can't breathe in the jeans, and her mother isn't helping either. Feeling dejected, Laura slumps on her bed, saying she is not going. Her mother pushes her to go and gives her the jacket, asking her to keep it buttoned. She asks her to be careful as there are chances Ryan may be a predator. Laura reminds her mother that she is 28 years old and can take care of herself, but her mom adds that she is still her baby. Dan is leaving, and Ryan asks where Adam, their other housemate, is. Dan is oblivious as ever and soon sees himself out. Acting on Dan's advice, Ryan starts manscaping himself. Laura tries unsuccessfully to follow the directions given by GPS to Ryan's house. At the same time, Ryan cleans up the house. We're then taken back to the day they met at the bar. Both are drunk, and Laura tells Ryan her rabbit story all over again. She also tells him the tragedy of her poor rabbit didn't end there. She didn't dig a deep hole for the dead rabbit, and the foxes got it soon after. To make her feel better, Ryan tells her about his fish Wanda, but Laura interrupts, and it again becomes a one-way communication, with Laura doing most of the talking. Ryan sits on his bed, patiently waiting for Laura to arrive. He looks around one more time and sees a photo frame of Tufts, his ex-girlfriend. He sprints to get it and hides it. Finally, Laura manages to reach her destination. She is so nervous that she messes up the excuse she thought of giving for being late. Ryan enthusiastically invites her in. After very tense pleasantries, Ryan offers to give Laura a tour of the house. He tells her his flatmate Dan is out clubbing, so it is just the two of them. He shows her around, and the tour ends in his bedroom. He asks if she wants something to drink, and she says yes, relieved that the long pauses in their conversation will not be awkward if they have golden liquid filled in their mouths. Ryan goes to fetch the drinks and closes the door of his bedroom as he leaves, locking Laura in. Laura is in a dilemma about whether to follow him or not. It is not like she gets the door shut in her face every day. She decides to follow him into the kitchen and finds him jumping from one cabinet to the other. He gets startled when she asks if he needs her help. He assures her he is fine and laughs nervously. Laura says she'll wait for him in the living room. She shuts the door behind her and tucks on her crotch shrinking jeans hard. Ryan calls Dan and asks where the liquor is. Dan is busy being his misogynistic self. Ryan finds the bottle and hangs up. A woman who heard what Dan said called him a much-deserved curse word and walks off. Ryan enters the living room with a mug and a beer bottle. He mixes the 3 kinds of alcohol he had and gives it to Laura. They are talking and laughing when a third voice laughs with them. It is Ryan's third housemate. Laura apologizes as she didn't know he was there. He blends perfectly with the background. No wonder she didn't see him. He sits with his feet soaking in water, after which he is going to give himself a pedicure. To avoid it getting any weirder, Ryan suggests they go see the garden. Once outside, he starts waving his hand and says the light is a motion sensor. Laura joins in and starts doing the same. She asks Ryan who that guy is. Ryan says he doesn't know. The guy resides with them, but he doesn't know his name. That is why he couldn't introduce him to her. Laura laughs and says why doesn't he ask him then? Ryan says he can't because it has already been a month. He calls the guy Adam or Alex, and Dan calls him Abel. And the fun part is the guy responds to all these names. Suddenly all lights go off, and when it switches back on, the Adam guy is there scaring both of them. Ryan asks him why didn't the lights turn on when he got there. He replies the motion sensors never seem to pick him up for some reason. He continues with the list: automatic doors, automatic dryers, and automatic toilets are the same, all a nightmare for him. While Adam scrubs his feet, Ryan and Laura try to decide what they should do next. Laura suggests going outside, but Ryan wants to stay home. Ryan runs off to grab himself another beer. Laura comes to Ryan's room searching for him, and to impress her, he lifts some 15 kilograms each dumbbell, and says he was just putting them away. Laura is impressed and asks how many he does every day. He blabbers 100 and starts showing her by lifting them. He clearly struggles while he lifts and manages 4. After watching him pull a muscle or two, she asks what they should watch. He hands her his laptop and says he has Netflix. She opens the laptop and finds Pikachu videos. She finds it cute and plays one, but it turns out to be the content because of which parental consent was introduced. Ryan snatches the laptop from her and tries to blame Dan for it. He nervously chuckles, which ends up with both of them entering into the never-ending zone of awkward silence. Lauren excuses herself to go to the bathroom while Ryan cringes over how bad things are going. Laura texts someone from the bathroom. She feels uncomfortable and wants an easy slide from it. She looks in the mirrors, and we go into a flashback, where she is again looking in the mirror and adjusting her hair. We're back in the club, and Ryan is a completely different person there, making her laugh. So, Laura holds off the message she wrote and decides to give the date another chance. Ryan has decided on 2 movies and asks Laura to choose once she steps out of the bathroom. She makes a failed attempt at a joke and then decides the movie they'll be watching. While Ryan puts the CD in the player, Laura opens her jacket and sits rather in an uncomfortable position that is nowhere near as seductive as she intended to be. Ryan sits back and asks her to get comfortable. Once they both settle down, they look nervous, and Ryan contemplates whether to put his arm around her but cannot bring himself to do anything. Laura throws a fact about the movie, and Ryan makes a dad joke making her laugh. Ryan keeps looking at her while she keeps her eyes fixated on the screen. Ryan moves his hand to hold hers, but she takes out her bracelet and keeps it on his thigh. Ryan asks her if he is supposed to do something with it. She says he can borrow it and do whatever he wants to with it. He takes the bracelet and puts it on the lampshade on the bedstand. Laura's eyes widen, and she looks concerned as it didn't go as she had planned. Ryan, however, is focused on making a move and soon puts his arm around her. He holds her with both his arms, but she pulls away as the movie gets very explicit, which makes her nervous. She blurts out that she has already seen the movie. She says she is not in the mood to see a movie and reminds him that they were supposed to go out for dinner. Ryan says he has agoraphobia and excuses himself to get another beer for himself. Laura can't believe her luck, and as soon as he leaves, she calls Beth, but it goes to voicemail. Then she calls Bianca and says to make an emergency call. Bianca starts yelling all sorts of nonsensical scenarios, but Laura makes her stop. She says she is scared because he intends to take their relationship to the next level, whereas she doesn't want that as it is too soon. In addition to that, she is concerned that she preferred to go natural on that date. Ryan calls Dan and narrates how he lied about being agoraphobic. He is freaking out for messing up the date. After listening to Dan give him ridiculous suggestions, Ryan hangs up on him. Bianca motivates Laura to take control if Ryan is messing up. She suggests if she is nervous, think what Shakira would do in that situation. Laura decides to give their disaster of a date another chance. Laura finds a razor on the sink and uses it to clean herself up quickly. But when she looks down, she has some bloody nicks. She uses tissue paper to stop the bleeding. She comes out and sees Ryan lying on the bed. He has decided to go with Dan's absurd idea and, in a phony tone, asks her to get in bed. Laura is too shocked to react intelligently, so she sits on the bed without any resistance. Somehow the dialogue of the movie they're watching harmonizes with what they're thinking. After a lot of struggling and delaying, they finally lean in to kiss each other. In their heads, Ryan is asking himself to calm down. At the same time, Laura thinks about Shakira and starts imitating her dance moves. She has no idea what she is doing, but Ryan thinks she is so confident. He musters the courage to show her his best moves. She takes off his shirt. Ryan reminds himself to be dominant and tries to do the same with her, but they end up falling from the bed because her top is wraparound blouse. He apologizes and starts removing his own clothes. Laura does the same. While removing her pants though, she tries not to look in pain as she peels them from herself. She thinks to herself how this is the most awkward situation she has been in. The jeans get stuck on her toes, and she can't get them off. Ryan volunteers to help and asks her to lie down. She falls face first on the bed, and Ryan yanks the pair of jeans in one strong pull. She thanks him and gets under the covers. Ryan joins in. After an utterly failed attempt at coition, Ryan lies on the bathroom floor, probably thinking he should have paid attention in the anatomy class when he had the chance. He looks traumatized as he sees off Laura. She thanks him for everything, and they hug each other. Laura pats his back while he looks like he is about to cry. Laura struggles with the lock while Ryan takes a guilt trip to the wall of shame where his photo will be embedded forever. Laura finally opens the door and says bye. Ryan closes the door behind her and remembers their first meeting. Ryan and Laura are drunk, and Laura's feet hurt because of the biting heels. Ryan is kind enough to let her take off the heels and give her a piggyback ride as her feet hurt. Laura is amazed and says everybody looks tiny from up there. They laugh and don't care about the world, even when a random guy flips Ryan off for asking a perfectly normal question that he, in his stupor, thought was alright to ask. Ryan remembers this and makes up his mind that he can't give up on Laura so easily. He opens his door and goes out to look for her. He cannot see her anywhere and thinks she is gone, but when he looks the other way, he finds Laura walking. He calls out to her and points out the right way. He waits with her at the bus stop and regrets not bringing his jacket as it gets windy outside. He apologizes again for everything that happened and also for not taking her out. He assures her he has had his experience, but it doesn't go well every time. Laura questions him if he has not taken anybody to his bedroom on the second date. He replies honestly and says he has never had second dates. He adds that he hasn't met anybody in a while that he likes. Laura asks if it is because of an ex or if he is not into women. She says he doesn't have to say anything and then starts mimicking the possessive girlfriend interrogation style, asking if he still loves his ex. In a flashback, Ryan catches his ex, Tufts, cheating on him with a guy named James. She says she meant to tell him. She had planned to do it on the weekend, but she's relieved that now he knows. Ryan cries and asks James to at least wear pants, but he says it is hot in there. In between sobs, Ryan explains the faulty thermostat, and Tufts pitches in, saying James can have a look at it. Ryan's lips quiver as he looks at them, but to our surprise, James and Ryan fix the thermostat together. Ryan narrates this incident to Laura, and she says what they did to him was awful. But Ryan looks at the bright side and says at least the thermostat is working fine. Laura says it is too cold to be standing out there, and Ryan asks if she would like to go back to his place, and she agrees. Ryan asks her to share her story since he shared his. Laura says she'll tell him, but he has to ask questions and guess like a game. So she gives him a statement that she broke up with her ex 5 months ago. They had been together for 6 years and were engaged. But it turns out her boyfriend was swinging both ways. She asked him if he still fancied her, and he said yes. Ryan asks if she had a problem with that, and Laura says no because she has always fancied Jennifer Aniston. She shares she wonders how Jennifer smells. Ryan says coconut, and Laura agrees because she envisioned Jennifer smelling like pina colada. Laura continues the story and says that one night she woke up at 3 a.m. because of some noise and found her ex sitting on the couch fiddling with some ornaments. It is then he confesses his orientation is only directed toward men. Laura didn't have a problem with him being queer and said it was fine since he still fancied her. Hearing this, her ex stared at her and kept repeating he was gay. After the revelation, they had to decide what to do about the house they got together. Laura had proposed to become housemates, but that didn't work out, so she went back to living with her mom. She further says if all that had not happened, she would have been getting married the next week. And they both take a long sip from their respective cup and bottle. Laura asks if Ryan has had only one girl she needs to fight off and says the cheater deserved a punch in the face. He drags it a little, and Laura playfully calls him out for making up numbers. They hear knocking on the door, and Ryan says it must be Dan. He warns Laura that Dan wants to speak with her. He might be drunk, so she shouldn't believe anything he says. Laura promises she is not going to judge him. She whispers she has already judged him and chuckles. Ryan opens the door, and to his shock, it is Tufts. She says she has been trying to call him, but he never answered, and she wants to talk. Ryan tries to send her away, but she asks for 5 minutes. She comes, and Ryan pushes her into the kitchen so that she doesn't come across Laura sitting in the adjoining bedroom. Tuft cries as she hands him a present and tells him that she and James broke up. She confesses to Ryan that she loves him and keeps thinking about him. They hear a noise from the adjoining room, and Ryan rushes to check on Laura. He lies that it is his dad who knocked, and he is very upset. Laura suggests she leaves, but Ryan stops her saying his dad will see her. He asks her to wait in the bedroom while he sends his dad away. Laura says he doesn't have to do that. He is his dad, after all. The fear of being caught makes Ryan take charge, and he assertively asks Laura to stay there. He goes into the kitchen and sees Tufts has made herself comfortable on the platform. He drags her down and says he'll talk to her tomorrow, but Tufts insists he open his present. He opens it and finds a photo frame of her and James. Ryan asks in disbelief if that is James, and she explains she didn't have their photo. She tries to seduce him by saying he can watch the Godfather trilogy while she fawns over him. But he is adamant about sending her away. She gives up and lies on the floor. Ryan drags her to the entrance and runs back to fetch her shoes. She asks if she can use the toilet before she goes. He says the toilet is broken, and they use either the sink or the one in McDonald's nearby, depending on the number. Tufts walks straight into the kitchen and empties her bladder in the sink. Ryan stares at her in horror. While she's still at it, she says she misses him. Ryan shuts his eyes tightly and turns the other way. He is worried about who is going to clean up after her. Suddenly, Adam gets up from his chair and asks if either of the two has seen his assorted biscuit tin. He was there the whole time, but his invisible personality made it hard for them to notice him earlier. Ryan shakes his head, and Adam leaves. He goes to the bedroom where Laura is and finds his box there. The door is still open when Laura sees Tufts and Ryan crossing the hallway. Tufts sees Laura, and they recognize each other. Laura calls Tufts Beth. Ryan is absolutely perplexed and asks if they are in this together. Beth and Laura are confused too. Laura then remembers and asks Beth if he is Pissy Ryan. Beth asks Laura if they both are on a date. Ryan is more concerned about the nickname he's given and asks what she means by Pissy Ryan. Beth tells him, once when he was too drunk, he wet the bed. He tries to defend himself, saying it was one time. Beth, now almost yelling, asks if they both are on a date. Laura says no. Beth asks Laura if she traveled all the way from Wales, and Laura says she traveled in a megabus, so it's fine and cheap. Beth gets angry at Laura for seeing her ex behind her back. Laura explains she didn't know who Ryan was. She tells confused Ryan that she was with Beth the night they met at the club. Laura insists she'll leave, but Beth stops her and makes Ryan choose between the two women. She then takes out her phone and starts reading the texts he has been sending her for the past 2 years. At the same time, Dan walks in with a girl named Tolly. He introduces her to Ryan and then Tufts and adds she is Ryan's cheater ex-girlfriend. Everything turns topsy-turvy after the roller coaster journey of what's, who's, and where. Finally, Laura says she will leave as Beth and Ryan have many things to figure out. Ryan tries to stop her, but she says she is done, and that this is not how things work. Laura leaves in tears. Ryan is frustrated, and Beth gives a devilish smile of victory. She takes off her jacket and sits on a chair while Tolly keeps blabbering nonstop. Ryan ponders over his decision to let Laura go. He is reminded of the fun game they played at the club. He comes to his senses and shouts at Beth for being so rude and not caring about how he feels. She reminds him that he texted her begging her to come back. And now that she is here, he's pushing her away because of idiot Laura. Ryan has had enough and says Beth is there for herself because she broke up with James. She doesn't care about his feelings because she has not once texted him back. He asks her to leave. Tolly says she's pregnant. Dan goes down on his knees and says he's going to raise the child as his own. She confesses she's not really pregnant. Ryan opens the door for Beth to leave, and she curses him before leaving. Laura is still outside trying to find Southwest. Out of frustration, she yells which way is Southwest. Beth comes face to face with her and hurls some more curses at her, and Laura punches Beth lightly. Beth is shocked and turns towards Ryan and drops to the ground in a melodramatic way. Laura says she deserved a punch in the face. She lightly kicks her and Beth sobs even louder. Laura continues figuring out the way to Megabus. Getting no attention, Beth gets up and threatens Laura that she'll get her fired. But Laura says their boss Marion also hates Beth. Beth shrieks in frustration and stomps off. Ryan jumps at the opportunity and comes running down the stairs to stop Laura from leaving. He apologizes profoundly and says he doesn't deserve a chance, but he pleads with her to come inside for 1 minute. Laura asks if he loves Beth, and he says no. He requests to come inside the house so that he can explain himself. Dan, Tolly, and Adam join in and pleads with Laura to come inside. Laura tries to suppress a chuckle and agrees to go inside the house. Everybody cheers. Ryan offers to open a bottle of champagne. Out of nowhere, Ryan addresses Laura as Goblin and asks how the champagne is. Laura replies, bubbling, and then laughs. This was the game they were playing at the club. She's surprised Ryan remembered. He is glad she is bad at reading maps because he couldn't have let her go after what happened. They share an intimate moment. Ryan asks if this is a date. Laura says they should never date. Ryan agrees. Adam adds this is nice. He is practically everywhere. Laura suggests they should go to his room, and Ryan carries her as he makes a joke, and she laughs. Outside Dan's bedroom, they can hear Tolly getting disgusted by Ryan and leaving. She meets Adam on the stairs and introduces herself. Laura and Ryan are much more comfortable with each other and share a partially successful second date. They see each other many times after that, acting on their fantasy, which, weirdly enough, has Adam in one of them. Ryan's Pikachu love remains unfazed, and Laura doesn't mind it. She has accepted Ryan as a whole package.